Sure. So Julie, we're going to get into the show here. I know you've watched the show a couple times already. So what I like to do, the first thing I like to do before we get too far, is a speed round of questions.
Right.
So I know you've watched, so I know you're ready for this. It's not like you can study though. It's just a series of questions so the viewers can get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
So when you give your answers, just a couple words or a short sentence. Like I said, it's nothing that you ever needed to study for. And for all you people watching at home, what I'd like you to do is every time I ask a question, just type in your answer, whatever your answer is, so we can compare what your answers are to what Julie's are. So please answer along. At the same time Julie enters her answers, you can answer yours as well. So ready to get started?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. So name the book that impacted your life the most.
I would say The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump.
Now, when you were a young girl, who was your celebrity crush?
That'd be Mark Wahlberg, and still is.
Nice. What is the book, podcast, or show that you're into right now?
Grey's Anatomy on Netflix.
Do you currently work with any coaches?
Yes, I do. I have a coach. His name is Mark Januszewski. He's called the world's laziest networker.
Okay.
He's out of Kauai, Hawaii, and he's doing some great things. He's a brilliant man.
Excellent. So what's your favorite movie of all time?
It's Meet Me in St. Louis.
Okay. I was expecting a Mark Wahlberg movie.
Oh. I love musicals.
Are you currently involved in any masterminds?
Yes, actually, it relates back to Mark Januszewski. He has something called the Master Key Mastermind Alliance, and I'm part of that. I have been for the past going on 3 years.
Excellent. So name a person, either dead or alive, who you'd most like to meet and have dinner with.
I would like to meet Jerry Hicks. He is, have you ever heard of Abraham Hicks?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to meet Jerry Hicks and have dinner with him and Esther.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Your favorite type of vacation, beach or adventure tour?
Well, it's funny. I live where people vacation. It would be beach. So beach, boats, water.
Beach, nice.
Yeah.
That's my favorite too.
Yeah.
Best business advice you ever received?
Oh boy. This was from Arlen Dolan. Do you remember Arlen?
No, I don't. The name doesn't ring a bell.
He was a big real estate investment guy, real estate investment network guy. A little bit before your time, but he said, "Well, yeah, if you're going to do condo conversion, now would be the time because there's the biggest price difference in what you can buy properties per door and what you can sell them for condos," and that changed my world. So I'm really glad he didn't actually necessarily say do it, but he said if you're going to do it, now's the time.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So the last question is a two-parter. Beer or wine, pizza or wings?
Well, I don't drink, but when I did, wine.
Okay.
And between pizza and wings, can I say yes?
Yes to both?
Yeah.
Sure you can.
Okay.
So Julie, can you talk to me a little bit about how you actually got into real estate investment in the first place and where you took your training from?
Sure, absolutely. And I will be repeating myself a little bit here, but that's okay. You don't mind, right?
No, I don't mind.
I was 18 months. No, I was not 18 months pregnant. That's not possible. I'd been married for about 18 months, pregnant with my first child. And my husband called me from the road one night and said, "Julie, we need to start investing in real estate." He had just came from a real estate investment network meeting, so a RAIN meeting.
Oh, okay.
And that's where he learned that 95% of all millionaires have done so through real estate, and he couldn't wait to get started. So he was really busy though. He owned a home hardware at the time, and he worked 80 hours a week. And I was a physio, so I had a lot more flexibility. So I could make phone calls in the evening, on weekends, at my lunch breaks, and I could go see properties a lot more easily. So I actually did most of the legwork when it came to buying the properties. And we put a line of credit on our house. So we got like $70,000 line of credit. We matched it up with a buddy of ours from Grand Prairie. His name is Jim.
Okay.
And we pooled our money and we bought 3 properties at first. And then, like I said before, when I had my daughter, I knew I couldn't go back to physio if I could help it. So we kept buying more and more properties. And it's basically how we started. I also have taken Ron LeGrand courses, but most of my training has come from the Real Estate Investment Network. And I've also done a lot of networking with Darren Weeks in the Fast Track group.
So did you actually attend any courses with Rain, or you just went to the monthly sessions?
I went to the courses, or I went to the monthly sessions, but I also went to, like I said, Ron LeGrand. I went to 2 Ron LeGrand quick turn real estate boot camps.
Right.
And they had like a condo conversion course. I can't remember all the courses, but mostly the monthly meetings is what I attended.
Can you tell us a little bit about your main strategy when you first started into real estate? I know that you transitioned into condo conversion, and then what is your main strategy right now? So can you talk about the 3 different sort of time frames and what your strategy was for each time frame?
Yes, absolutely. So my first strategy, we bought assumable mortgages, which actually is not really all that possible anymore.
Right.
But it was basically a way to invest in real estate with low money down and without having to qualify for financing. Now, there are still ways to do that today. It's just a little bit, there's just like an extra step involved.
And most of the time for assumables now, you actually have to get qualified. They still want you to qualify, and they want you to put 5% down. A lot of the Class A banks want you to qualify, and they want you to put at least 5% down on assumable mortgages. They just make their own rules up.
They did, well, and it's the golden rule, right?
Yeah.
Who owns the gold makes the rules.
That's right.
Yeah. So they were primarily buy and holds. So we would just buy them and rent them. So we were primarily landlords, and we had a portfolio of 36 properties ranging from duplexes, fourplexes, townhomes, Grand Prairie, Edson, and Edmonton. Most of them were in Edmonton.
Okay. So
that was our first strategy. And then, yes, we went into condo conversion. Just kind of, I decided I wanted to buy multifamily. So this realtor, her name's Pam Gill. She reached out to me because I joined her list, and I called her a bunch of times, and I said I'd like to buy a multifamily. So she kind of didn't take me seriously, actually, because she didn't know much about me.
Yeah.
And she called me about a 15-unit apartment building, and she said, well, I've got this building, but it's only 15 units. And I said, well, okay. So I didn't know the difference. And she said, okay, that doesn't bother you? I said, no, I just want to get in. I don't really care. She said, okay, great. Well, this is the other thing. Now, you can't qualify for financing. And I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for the downside. She said, she said, you have to buy this property through what's called an agreement for sale. And she kind of held her breath. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. She said, well, you know what that is? I said, yeah, I bought that. I've done that a few times with some of the houses that I already own. She's like, you own houses? I said, yeah, I own about 39 single family homes. I've been buying them since 2001.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, so anyway, she helped me get my first building. I didn't qualify for financing. I didn't put down any of my own money. And then she showed me a condo conversion. So I'd buy the building with her, and then I'd sell all the condos off with her brother, actually, Cam Gill. Great condo guy in Edmonton. And so that was our second strategy. And then we got spit up and chewed out. Nope, we got chewed up and spit out. That's how you put it. And when I was going to, I was looking at rebuilding, I'd read a book by Mark Loeffler called Investing in Rent to Own. Mm-hmm. And I love his tenant first strategy. So that's what I wanted to primarily do. My husband's outside holding up my dog. Anyway, I put my dog in the closet so she wouldn't bark.
Oh, nice.
I love my dog, but anyway. So I really like Mark's, just thought his tenant first strategy was absolutely brilliant. So I knew if I was going to rebuild real estate, that's how I wanted to do it. So I've done a few of those. And I also am just finding all kinds of deals with motivated sellers. So I'm pretty good at sandwich lease options and those kinds of opportunities. And that's what I'm primarily focusing on. I've bought a few just with investors where the investors have qualified for financing and they just want to, sit on a property. But most of them, my favorite way is tenant first with investors.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if the tenants have, typically with the tenant first strategy, you're looking for them to have a minimum amount of down payment. A lot of times, most tenant first strategies, you want at least 5% down so that actually, there's incentive for an investor to come in and actually purchase a property. So, in one's investing career, a lot of times you don't end up sticking with the same strategy, or you need to have a lot of different strategies in your tool belt so that you can see an opportunity and then evaluate and determine which strategy works best. Because you're getting a lot of opportunities. Opportunities come in, but they might not always. If you're only looking or only know of one strategy, you can miss out on a lot of different opportunities because you don't know how to analyze it and sort of figure out which strategy works best.
Yes.
Because really it's about return on investment, and it's wherever you're going to get the fastest return on investment and get your freedom. That's sort of how you need to analyze properties. So making sure that a variety of different strategies. I meet a lot of investors and they only know one strategy, or they'll just focus on buy, rent, and hold, and maybe they'll do it with some partners or find some investors, but that buy, rent, and hold strategy, if you're needing to raise the 20 to 30% down payment, it's a long process, versus if you actually have other strategies such as the lease option, sandwich lease option, or other short-term strategies, fix and flips, using private money that you can actually use to generate the income to do the buy, rent, and hold. And that's always been sort of my philosophy is I understand all of the strategies and I will do whatever works best in that particular situation, and then use the money from that to do the buy, rent, and hold. And
I agree with all that. Yeah.
So having sort of a clear understanding of all the different strategies is very useful, and especially if you're going to deal with a coach, you want your coach to be able to look at an opportunity and understand the variety of different strategies that are available to you, and help you make the decision as to what's going to get you your best ROI. It's still up to the individual to make the decision, but you can help them, guide them through the strategy and the analysis of, if you do this, here's your ROI. If you do that, here's your ROI. If you do this strategy, here's your ROI. So making sure that they're making the right informed decision that's going to work out best for them.
Absolutely.